Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another lockdown photo slideshow thing. Here's a photo of me with a GSA on the day of collection, just by way of intro. But yeah, I've had over 100 emails of photos, so thank you very much for those. Still a lot to come, but I'm going to start this time with an old photo of my fleet. This is going back to 2008, I think. There's Ellie the 2CV. I had a Renault 5, very early one with dash gear change, and Betsy the Mini there, and an Ariba Putt Caravan that Eddie hated towing, so we didn't keep it for very long. And we'll stick with a 2CV theme as we go into the next photos from Matt Holden. These are scrap 2CVs, and a Mini indeed, spotted in a scrapyard in Cumbria some years ago, I think. Or maybe fairly recently. There's a modern Mini behind it there. But yeah, it reminds me when these things used to be everywhere. I used to pick parts from 2CVs in scrapyards. I can almost smell how musty that car feels inside. So it's just a body shell. The chassis looks to have long gone. But still got some useful spares on it, I'd suggest. Those doors don't look too bad. And here's another one also, just a bare body shell. What is that to the right? That's intriguing me. Volvo 340 maybe? Not sure. We've got a Reliant Scimitar behind it by the look of it. And a chopped up Maestro van, I think, as well. Wow, quite an interesting shot. Yeah, I do love scrapyard photos. Don't send me any more photos at the moment because, like I say, I've had over 100 emails. I've got a considerable backlog, but these ones will be interesting. These next ones are from Remco Taken, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, on holiday with his sister a long time ago. Look, Merc S-Class, gorgeous Simca 1100 there. And we've got a few more from Remco as well. And I love these period photos. You know, you got the period little pushchair there. But also the cars just look like they don't look today. Look how many stickers are on that Simca, for instance. On this next one, this is the Netherlands. I think that's Remco's sister again, admiring this beautiful Allegro. Seen there on its Dutch plates with its little NL sticker. It's hard to tell because the photo's discoloured somewhat, but I suspect that's harvest gold. It could be sand glow. Very hard to tell. But again, very atmospheric, the days of camping holidays in the sun. But I think Remco's best photo, he sent me quite a lot, but I love this next one because this is a Peugeot 202. Very strange, very much inspired by the Chrysler Airflow. Look at those headlamps inset in the grille. I have driven a 202 pickup many years ago. Extraordinary cars. Nowhere near as wacky in mechanical terms, but you know, Peugeot always tended to be fairly conventional, but very hard wearing. There's a lovely BMW in the background there, an E9 I think, a little Volkswagen Polo, and a Peugeot 504 I think we've got to the right. The next set of photos are from Brad Leisure, and these are genuine ex-Christine film cars. I think Brad even saved one of them from the scrapyard, although he says he hasn't seen it since. So obviously the film of Christine involves this Plymouth Belvedere that developed rather nasty tendencies. They used a lot of cars up in that film. In the next photo, we're going to see under the bonnet of one of the Ram cars, all this reinforcing so that car could just smash its way through other cars. And it's, yeah, quite extraordinary to think that any of these cars survived. But yeah, that one would have been broken for spares. But apparently quite a few cars from the film have survived. Whether they bring their owners happiness or misery, I'm not entirely sure. Jumping into the next selection, this is my friend Graham in Oamaru, who I stayed with. This is an Austin 8 he managed to find last year in New Zealand. So Oamaru is down on the South Island of New Zealand. Hello all Kiwis. Your lockdown appears to be going very well. So yeah, all good times down there. I'm sure you're all looking forward to a bit more freedom again. Again, I timed my trip very well to avoid such difficulties. But yeah, somewhat rusty that one, and we're going to have another look at the back of this car. But it so reminds me of New Zealand, just the way the lichen builds up on the cars, and you can just see one of Graham's penny farthings there, because Graham actually manufactures and restores penny farthings in Oamaru. Definitely one of my favourite towns on the trip, Oamaru, so it's definitely worth popping down. Maybe you can even go and have a nose in the stables at Graham's Penny Farthings. Coming up, we're going into Austin Dory's pictures. So there's an Austin link. This is a Tatra 603 he found in Italy in 2018. Utterly remarkable cars, air-cooled V8 mounted at the rear, monocoque construction, incredibly tough. Their own promotion video shows one rolling down a hill. They are extraordinary to drive. Column gear change to a rear-mounted engine. I have driven one, but way before video days. I would love to drive another one, just because they're quite extraordinary. And we'll try a different view of the same car. This is from the back. You can see the split window is because it was originally meant to have a dorsal fin, but I think that was prototype only in the end. And a link to the pre-war Tatras, which really did have huge stabilizing fins down the back. But yeah, built for the head honchos in the world of communist Czechoslovakia, although some claim Czechoslovakia wasn't full communist, but nonetheless these cars were built for the top notch folk. And there is a shot of the air-cooled V8 engine in the back, and yeah, they sound wonderful. And they tend to have petrol heaters as well, because obviously air-cooled engine at the back, not the best to keep the cabin warm. It is a big cabin, full 6-seater, so yeah, quite extraordinary. Right, the photos coming up were sent by Trev, surname unknown. He's a cyclist from Northern Ireland, although at the time he sent the emails he was trapped in Spain because of the lockdown. And yes, he's found some interesting things on his travels. This is Germany, I think. It's a Volkswagen Polo pickup 6-wheeler with some sort of day van behind. The Germans certainly corner the market for slightly different engineering and modifications of stuff. So interesting times, and an extraordinary find. But Trev also found, while he was in Moldova, this remarkable Moskvitch 407, and kind of inspired by Western designs to look at, but quite extraordinary. These cars were built between 1956 and 1965. Moldova is down the other side of Romania and Bulgaria, and so I didn't get that far on the Mighty Dacia mission, but yeah, good to see. And now we're going to oh no, we've got another shot of this car from the back, and it's more rounded. From the front you could almost think it was like an Austin Cambridge, but from the back it's a bit more rounded, a bit more Fiat-esque, I think. But yeah, very much the work of Moskvitch, a Russian manufacturer. So yeah, very hardy and very simple, and a nice spot. So thanks for that, Trev. That brings us to the end of reader submissions, almost, because we have a Brucey bonus this time. It's Betty, the Ford Fairmont. This is a picture that Chris, the previous owner, took, and it shows Betty towing a Ford, is it a CX-10? It's a pre-war Ford design. I've actually seen this car. Chris took me to see it while I was with him in Auckland. But yeah, it's so good to see Betty again. But it gets better and better, because I've been in touch with Tony, who now owns Betty, and all is good. Here she is, outside a supermarket, outside Countdown. And I see that headlamp has still gone a little yellow at the front, and she's had to have a new front number plate as well. Apparently someone stole the front number plate, so I hope that wasn't a hub nutter. But apparently she's in fine fettle, steadily improved. The handbrake is now better, and he's sewn the front seats up as well. So yeah, well done, Tony. It's good to see Betty looking so well, and I'm wearing my Betty hoodie at the moment. But there's more news from New Zealand as well, because if you go to trademe.co.nz, this BX, the first car I used on that trip, is currently for sale. Stuart just needs something a bit more reliable and dependable. There's a few foibles, some of which were apparent during my drive. But yeah, the BX is for sale for what works out to be about £900. So I can't say I'm not tempted, but shipping such a car to the UK would be quite difficult at the moment, unfortunately, I think, and quite expensive, considerably more than the cost of the car. But yeah, what a trip that was. It really was good old times indeed. But that brings us to the end of this one, so I'll say thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this one too, and I look forward to seeing you in a future slideshow or even video. Farewell.